Every time you log in with a password, you do something that, when you really look at it, is a little bit crazy. You take your secret and you hand a full copy of it to a server on the other side of the internet. And then you trust that server to keep it safe forever against everyone. You do it on the real site, and you do it just as easily on a perfect fake, because the fake asks in exactly the same way. That single design choice, a secret you share, is the quiet root cause behind almost every account that has ever been stolen, every database dumped, every credential reused. Here's the thing I want you to sit with. Passwords are not losing because people keep picking bad ones. They're losing because the whole idea underneath them, shared secret, is broken at the foundation. And the technology replacing them doesn't just use a better secret. It shares no secret at all. This is the story of Passkeys, how they actually work under the hood, and why, this time, the math is finally on your side. Start with what a password actually is. It's a shared secret. The same value lies in two places, in your head and in the site's database. And anything that's shared can be stolen from either end. It can be phished when a convincing fake page simply asks you to type it in. It can be reused, so one leak unlocks 10 other accounts. And it can be breached, scooped up by the millions when a company's database leaks. The FIDO Alliance puts the problem bluntly. Unlike passkeys, passwords rely on a shared secret. Fix that one word, shared, and the whole attack surface collapses. So the real question is, how do you prove who you are without ever handing over a secret? Defenders have spent 2 decades patching around this. Length rules, complexity rules, forced resets, password managers, and one-time codes texted to your phone. Each helps a little, but none of them change the fundamental shape. There is still a secret, and it can still be handed to the wrong person. Even most two-factor codes are just a second shared secret, one that a good phishing page will happily ask you for in real time. We kept making the secret bigger and more complicated. The honest fix isn't a better password. It's no shared secret at all. And for that, you need a completely different kind of proof. Here's the idea that changes everything. Instead of one secret you both know, a passkey is a pair of keys generated by math, a private key and a public key. They're linked. Something signed by the private key can be checked by the public key, but you cannot work backwards from the public key to the private one. So you split them up. The private key stays locked on your device and never leaves it. The public key you hand to the website. And here's the beautiful part. The public key is useless to a thief. It can only check signatures, never create them. For the first time, the thing the server stores is something you don't have to keep secret at all. So how does this get set up? It's called registration, and it happens once when you create a passkey for a site. Your device generates a brand new key pair, unique to that one site and that one account. The private key is sealed into your device's secure hardware. The public key is sent to the website and stored next to your account like a padlock the site keeps on file that only your private key can close. No secret traveled. The site never saw and never will see your private key. From the FIDO and WebAuthn standards, this is the whole enrollment, a fresh key pair, public half out, private half locked in. Now you're ready to prove it's you without revealing anything. Now the login itself, which the standard calls a ceremony. When you go to sign in, the site sends your device a random challenge, basically a one-time puzzle, a string of numbers it has never sent before. Your device unlocks your private key and uses it to sign that challenge, producing a signature. It sends only the signature back. The site takes the public key it stored at registration and checks, does the signature match this challenge? If it does, you're in. Notice what just happened. You proved you hold the private key without ever sending it. And because the challenge is new every time, a signature captured from one login is worthless for the next. There is nothing reusable to steal. Now play out the nightmare scenario. The website you use gets breached. Attackers walk off with the entire database. With passwords, that's catastrophe. Millions of secrets ready to be cracked and reused everywhere. With passkeys, what did they get? A pile of public keys. And public keys, by design, can only verify signatures, never make them. They can't be reused. They can't be cracked into private keys. They can't log in anywhere. The single most valuable target in security, the password database, simply stops being valuable. You've moved the secret out of the place that keeps getting robbed and onto a device in your pocket that never lets it leave. But the property that really sets passkeys apart is phishing resistance, and it is worth slowing right down for, because this is the part that defeats the attack passwords could never beat. Think about why phishing works today. If a fake page looks identical to the real one, you can't tell the difference, so you type your password in and it's gone. Your eyes are the only thing standing between you and disaster, and eyes get fooled. Passkeys remove your eyes from the equation entirely. When you register, your passkey is permanently bound to the real site's exact origin, its true web address, what the standard calls the RPID. Now the phishing page comes along, a pixel-perfect copy living at a lookalike address. It asks your device to sign in, and your device quietly checks the origin, sees that it does not match the one the passkey was created for, and simply refuses to sign. Nothing happens. There is no decision for you to get wrong, no secret you could be tricked into typing, because there is no secret at all, and the address has to match exactly. This calls this verifier impersonation resistance, and it works in their exact words without relying on the vigilance of the user. The credential itself won't sign for the wrong site, no matter how convincing that site looks to a human. Now you might be wondering, if the private key just sits on my device, isn't my face or my fingerprint being sent to the website? No, and this part matters. That biometric, or your device PIN, is only used locally to unlock the private key on the device itself. The FIDO Alliance is explicit. Your biometric information stays on the device and is never sent to any remote server. The website never receives your fingerprint or your face. All it ever gets is a signed assurance that the unlock succeeded. So you get the convenience of a fingerprint tap with none of the privacy costs of handing your biometrics to 100 different companies. So, where does your passkey actually live? There are two flavors, and the difference is a real trade-off. Device-bound passkeys never leave a single piece of hardware, like a physical security key you carry. That's the strongest form. The standards reserve their highest assurance level for keys whose private half can never be exported. Then there are synced passkeys, which a cloud provider securely copies across your devices, so the passkey on your laptop is also on your phone. Synced passkeys are still phishing resistant and still have no shared secret. They just trade a little of that single device strength for the convenience of not being locked out when you upgrade your phone. Most people, most of the time, want synced. Which brings us to the honest hard part, the bit the marketing tends to skip. It is not the cryptography. The cryptography is rock solid. It's recovery. If your login is a key that lives on your devices, then a very real question is, what happens when you lose all of those devices at once? Your phone falls in a lake, your laptop is stolen on the same bad day. With synced passkeys, your cloud account simply restores them to a new device, which is convenient. But notice what that means. Your recovery is now only as strong as that one cloud account and its own backup and recovery flow. With a single device-bound hardware key and no backup, losing it can mean falling back to some older method. Often, ironically, a password or a texted code, and that weak fallback can quietly become the real weakest link in the entire chain. So here is the honest summary. Passkeys don't erase the recovery problem. They concentrate it into fewer, more important places. The practical answer is simple. Always set up more than one passkey on more than one device and treat your recovery path with exactly as much care as the keys themselves. Let's clear up the most common confusion, because it trips up almost everyone. A passkey is not just a really good password saved in a manager. A saved password is still a shared secret, a string that gets sent to the site and could be phished out of you. A passkey is a cryptographic key pair where the private half never travels and a fake site can never trigger it. Your password manager or your phone or a hardware key are just different places to hold that private key. The thing itself is not a secret you type. It is a key that signs. That's the whole leap, from a secret you reveal to a proof you perform. And this isn't a lab experiment. Passkeys are built on open standards. FIDO2, which is WebAuthn in the browser plus a protocol called CTAP to talk to your authenticators. They already work across the major operating systems, browsers, and a fast-growing list of the biggest sites you use. A FIDO Commission survey found that a majority of people had already enabled Passkeys on at least one account. The direction is set, and it is industry-wide. Passwordless, phishing-resistant sign-in with no shared secret to leak. Passwords spent 30 years as the thing we all agreed was broken but couldn't replace. Passkeys are how we finally replace them. So here's why passwords are losing. In one line, you can't steal a secret that was never shared. Passkeys keep the private key on your device, send only a signature, refuse to sign for a fake site, and leave a breached server holding public keys that are worthless to an attacker. They're not perfect. Recovery is the part you have to set up with care, but the core is a genuine upgrade, not another patch. So the practical takeaway: when a site you care about offers a passkey, turn it on, and add a second one as backup. If this finally made Passkeys click, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next breakdown.